Here's an Emerson from 1958, model 895. It is a very large tabletop AM/FM tube radio. This was sent in for repair along with the other radios that we've seen in previous videos. This is another one of those radios that came from that estate sale. A friend of mine bought 33 radios from an estate sale of a woman collector. We got these radios pretty inexpensively, so a lot of them need work, but I think we can fix these things up, most of them. We've already repaired about 5 of them already, and so they all got potential, definitely. Not very often you can buy that many vintage radios in one setting. So anyway, as I've said before in previous videos, I've brought some back for repair, and then I got some for myself as well. This one's for repair, so we'll get started on it here. This set, when I got it, the power cord in the back of it, this is not the same power cord that came with the radio. It's one that fit in here off another radio. But the original power cord had a split right here, and the wires were arcing together, and the guy that bought these made the mistake of plugging it in, and he got a fireworks show back here. So I'll replace the power cord, or at least this one's going to be a loaner power cord for this set, just to get it going, and then we'll figure out what we got to do for a power cord. And anyway, this set actually works, but it does have a few issues, so let's plug it in and I'll demonstrate what's going on.
Quicksand and belt-rotting foxes.
As you can hear, we have our trademark filter capacitor hum, or either that or a shorted tube. We'll figure it out as we go along. This set has the typical AM/FM tube lineup for most radios of the era. This set does work again, but it does have a hum. That humming is going to be this light. Turn that off. That's my computer interfering with the radio on AM.
But I'm telling you, talked to some of these in our room. You said, notice I said these. You talked to some of these in our room. But this is bad. Things are obviously having some kind of impact. And now if you look in the election polls here, Trump is in the Democrats of Ohio is up.
Well, we got a scratchy volume knob, and
it's got everybody shocked.
The bass and treble knob is very hard to move.
About how the Democrats who were practically
very hard to move here. So we'll have to see if we can't clean that up and see if we can get that moving a little easier. Clean these controls.
Democrats fear their... Look out the windows are dark.
Okay, let's switch it over to FM.
Such a boob. He's so incompetent.
Not a very good, not too good a reception on FM. It is working. The volume's almost maxed out, so it could be better.
Visit CenturaCollege.edu.
That is mentioned.
Okay, let's pull the back off of it and see what we can do with it. Okay, here's the chassis with the cover removed. Looks like we have plenty of spider webs and dust. This chassis reminds me a lot of the Spartan we worked on a few videos back. And the way it's mounted in here into the cabinet, it looks, kind of reminds me of that. But this set looks like it uses a selenium rectifier here, so that'll definitely need to be checked to see if it's generating the proper voltage. That could be causing some of the problems we've been having. And here's our filter capacitor right here, a large electrolytic paper filter capacitor. And I can already read right now there's an 80 microfarad on there, so I may have to substitute that for a little bit higher value, as I know I don't have any 80s around here. But it's like it just snaps in there like most of them do, into that little holder there. And it's got these trouble-prone IF cans, but thankfully it doesn't sound like we're having any problems, at least as of the moment. But those are those IF cans that are in most of those AM radios with SMD, so hopefully we don't have a problem with that. But overall, with it working, it does show promise. Kind of unusual. We have this 4 microfarad paper capacitor in here that's non-polarized, is what it says, and that very oddly shaped speaker there. Then we have another speaker over here which looks kind of like a tweeter, has no air holes or vents in the back of the speaker. So anyway, we'll need to get this chassis out and service the set. Alright, and here's the chassis removed here. They don't make it easy to get this thing out of the cabinet. I had to desolder the speaker because there was about 15 screws in those speakers and they're all linked together. So I just desoldered the speaker from this terminal strip here and took the chassis out. Ended up having to take these little individual hookups here off the wood cabinet to get it out. And then there's some sort of light here that goes to the front faceplate, and there's a little bitty tiny hole in there. I'm not sure what that's for. They got that bulb, but yet they don't have a lighted dial. There's no bulbs to light the dial, which is kind of odd to me. So we'll probably have to clip on a speaker, or set the chassis up here and just alligator clip on the speaker whenever we want to check it, because taking that speaker setup out of the chassis is just not efficient, not an efficient option at all. And before my memory just ran out, I was about to show you the underside of the chassis. This thing is full of paper caps and a corroded up, falling apart looking sand resistor. And so I'll have to pull up a schematic on this thing and see if we can figure out what value that thing is. It's actually disintegrating and coming apart. I'm sure it's way out of tolerance. And besides the filter capacitor, we have a few electrolytics in here. Got a 30 microfarad at 150 right there, and we got an old dry electrolytic here. It's a 50 microfarad at 25 volts, and there's another one tucked up under here too. Looks like a 50 volt cap. I can't really read the value on it right now. And this is interesting here. It's got a nylon drive for the tuning on it. And they've got that tuning capacitor right here kind of oddly done. Probably be a good idea to grease that back up. I don't believe that nylon is really worth a crap, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, we got a bumble bomb down here. It'll need to be replaced. Okay, I've got done with the recapping here. And I went to go turn the radio on. Well, I turned the radio on, and there's no audio on the FM side. AM seems to work fine, but we're not getting any FM. And so, you know, the AM side working tells me that the audio section in the radio is working, but we're not getting any FM. So I have a feeling that it could be in the FM detector circuit, something going on there. So I think what we'll do is we'll start at the 19T8 tube, which is here, and we'll try to got the signal tracer warmed up here, and it's working. So I think what we'll do is we'll probe the plate of the 19T8, you know, first audio and detector tube, and it's dead on that side, nothing happening. So what I think we'll do is we'll move to the input, which is pin 3. Okay, we got a signal there. So the problem is in this tube. Well, I have no idea what happened, but it's playing now. I unplugged the tube that was in here just to try another one, and turned it on with a replacement tube, and turn that down so I don't get the copyright police. But plugged in another tube and tried it, still dead. Then turn around and unplug that tube and plug this one back in, and we're back in business. I don't know what happened here. I did disconnect this capacitor here to see if that was part of maybe the problem, but that was when it started playing. Connected the capacitor back in line, and it's still playing, so I don't know. Well, I think I've got this thing about ready to go back in the cabinet. That little episode with the tube, only thing I could figure was a dirty tube socket. So I cleaned the pins and cleaned the sprayed some contact cleaner down in the tube socket, plugged the tube in, you know, in and out, cleaning it, and it's been playing for about 2 or 3 hours now, about 2.5 hours, and haven't had any problems. So anyway, I got it unplugged right now from the wall. So I'll show the underside of the chassis here. Had to replace just about every resistor on this 19T8 tube. The 4.7 meg that was over here, a 22K over here, and a 220K here. And then this 2.2 meg here going to this IF can. All those had to be replaced. This 330 ohm here, and I think that was about it. But yeah, pretty much everything over here. I don't have anything to replace this sand resistor. I'm just going to have to leave it in place. It looks kind of questionable, but it ohms out okay. It's a 15 ohm and it ohms about 17. I don't have anything in that value to replace it with. It's probably a 5 or 7 watt resistor, I'm guessing. I'd have to look on the schematic. I don't even think it said on there. Yeah, so I've cleaned a lot of the tube sockets and everything seems okay. Put a safety capacitor in here on the inline cap, and the rest of these resistors check okay. These have already been replaced at one time. They ohm out perfect. So I think the only thing left I need to do, I'm probably going to grease this worm gear here, since it being nylon or whatever. I think it probably needs to be greased before I put it back together, so we don't have any problems with the plastic gears breaking on that. Okay, we got our little gear, worm gear in here, greased up. This moves on a worm gear up and down, and then this gear over here turns the AM tuning. So we got all that grease back up and we're ready to go back in the cabinet. Okay, we got it back in the cabinet playing, and the only thing I'm having a problem with is lining up this dial scale. Inside the radio there's no adjustment for the FM on it. So on the lower end of the band, it's really strange. On the lower end of the band, the stations seem to be further up the dial, and on the higher end of the band they seem to be about right. So, you know, but the travel of the dial, I did align that up and it's okay on AM, and there's actually an adjustment, you know, on the capacitor, you know, to adjust that out on AM. It's actually okay on AM, but FM is just off, and there's just no way to adjust that. So, you know, I just had to go with what I had, you know, just had to get it as close as I could. Anyway, it's playing. This is FM here. So that station here, this station here is on 93.3. It's more like 96 on the dial.
3-3.
This is 94.7. That's on almost 98.
Or the crime, the Bland Law Firm is there for you.
27155. This is the number to call, so you can
UCOS.
I didn't know. What the church called moving forward, but
Sure, probably is not what we would want.
okay.
So what we're
Now
looking
this is
for
on 105.9,
is a printer
and it's a little bit past 106, but it's not too bad.
that could print up to 150 photos during that one evening when they're
And that's 106.7, so it's closer on this end of the dial. I don't know why. That's really about the last audible station around here.
we're going to find that's right for you.
Got that one there.
Are you gonna like
So let's try AM.
And the eunuch said, "See, here is water. What doth hinder
That's
me to be baptized?"
1340.
And Philip said, "If thou believest with all thine heart, thou
So
mayest."
that's about right.
And he answered,
Basically, the person would take the picture.
And that's
their
1240.
iPhone, plug it directly into the photo queue,
A little bit high.
and the photo
Not
queue would
much.
down.
And there's no DX in right now. It's during the middle of the day, so
Photo would be coming out of the frame.
only about 2 stations around here.
I don't know if you would want to take it
On
this
AM.
far, but like when people come visit, started taking pictures because like it's like seems to be like the thing to do, right? And I went on Amazon and I purchased a whole bunch.
to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. May the Lord bless the reading
All
of
right,
God's
so that's the 1958 Emerson Model 895. Playing again, sounding pretty decent. Thanks for watching.
Now, Patriot.